kind of could see Kyle to my inside. I heard him cross over and then missed the bottom and he got around me. And then it just seemed like after that I struggled a little bit in 3 and 4. So, I'm glad to be in a good spot and set up for Saturday night pretty nicely.
This is for all three of you guys. I know there's a sense of relief of how this all turned out, but we heard from several drivers that the most stressful race of the entire year was your heat races tonight. Could you give us a sense of what that's like, trying to prepare for that and the mental game that you play going into that race?
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, qualifying is the most stressful at that time, and then once you get through that and qualify well, and then you know that you're going to start in the 4th row or even 3rd row, that first lap is very critical in the heat races. It's just these half miles when people get wound up, it's just hard to make passes. So that first corner especially is really important. Thankfully or unfortunately for me, I don't really know what at the time, but I've never started 8th here, and I was excited to start in the outside lane for my heat, and then the outside pole guy had broke, so then they crisscrossed. I was starting 7th. I'm like, dang, this is not good. But was able to get a good start and get to a transfer pretty quickly. But that heat race, once you qualify good, is very stressful because if you can get through it, your night's set up pretty well. But if you miss it, say like Logan did, then your night's screwed. You can miss by one spot and risk not even making the main.
I think a lot of it depends too on where you qualify. Like, for me tonight, like I qualified 9th, so that situation's tough. I think if you miss it out of your heat race, then you're probably going to start outside of the transfer again in the B main, which makes it hard again. Where if you qualify quick time and you miss the transfer in the heat race, you probably start on the pole, the B, and then if you can run up through there a little bit, you'll still be in a pretty decent spot points wise. So it all depends. If you qualify 11th or worse and miss it, then you're really in trouble. I mean, you see some of them guys. I can think of the 88, the 1S, the 5. Like they're really good cars, and they had to start really deep in the B main. So that's super stressful. So I think like Kyle said, starting 7th, like arguably you almost want to start like 10th instead of that. I mean, it's just such a penalty. It seems like starting on the bottom here on these half miles in a heat race. You don't seem to fire off that good right behind cars on the bottom. You have no arc to your corner to turn off before, and then into turn 1, your options are pretty much either run the bottom or slide across, which a lot of the times behind cars, neither option is very fast. So, getting shuffled around a little bit can help. For me tonight, side dropping out and starting 6th was like a huge blessing. So, hopefully, the biggest thing, like Kyle said, is just getting a good start in them heat races. But it's definitely very stressful. That heat is tough.
I was pretty confident in our heat. We've got the luxury to come here, a few times this year, and the way the local format works with the 6-car invert, allows you to work on things like that, building up to the nationals. So I feel like, in July we came twice and got our stuff a little bit better and for the heat race, and we kind of focused on qualifying in heat races and could scoot on up through there pretty quickly. So. For us tonight, I think the biggest thing was making sure we got qualified in a position where you had enough points to advance in a heat race, and then just running a pace where you could get by guys, and it really all goes down on the first lap and a half where you pass everybody. So you got to time everything and understand who you're racing against and who's starting in front of you and what direction they're going to go get into turn 1.
Got one more back there.
This is for all three of you. With how different the track conditions have been the past 2 nights, how much do you pay attention tomorrow to prepare for whatever it throws at you on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's dirt, so you're always paying attention and trying, just to see how a different track might race. But tonight was just a little bit different than last night. The bottom was, around the berm was as wet as I've ever been here, but not quite as bad as last night. So, I think that allowed for the track for the main event to be really good and go through a lot of changes. But it could be totally different on tomorrow and then totally different again on Saturday. So you can't really see the future, but you try and study up the best that you can.
Yeah, the track. I mean, like you said, it's dirt racing, so you just never know how it's going to be. But it's surprised me a little bit just how sloppy and wet the bottom's been early in the night. Past 2 nights. Last night I felt like it was almost unrunnable in the heats until like the last heat, and then tonight I feel like 69K seemed to be able to run down there like flawlessly, but it was still pretty greasy at that point. And I think I was in the 4th heat, and I felt like it was still greasy in turn 1 and 2. I could hit it pretty good, but it was still pretty greasy. So I don't know. I think that'll change. It seems like Saturday night the track prep's always a little bit different because I think they try to start the track a little drier with with not having qualifying and heat races and stuff like that. It's just straight into semis and stuff like that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch. It's always fun to watch races at Knoxville, so I'm sure we'll all be paying attention. But yeah, you just never know.
It's important to watch the track and how it develops throughout the nights. Obviously Nationals Saturday night is the surface will be quite a bit different. I feel like they get the material a little bit harder just because there's not as many laps on it, like Carson said. So just got to study all that. And Friday night, they have it's probably another one of the toughest races of the year for all these guys that got to run through there again and just run in the top 4 to advance into the feature. So just really, really important to watch the Duncans, what they do with the track prep, and they do an amazing job at this place, and their consistency is unmatched. So I know this year they've had dry tracks and wet tracks and rubber down tracks, and just understanding the new material that they've put on this surface, and it's been fun to come here and see the place develop throughout the year.
Alrighty, that is all the time we have for. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, drivers, for joining us.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.